It seems like almost every week the news people can find somebody that says they've been offended or some crime has happened against that person 10, 20, 30 years ago, but they want justice for it today. And they get in front of the camera with alligator tears, you bet, and they want justice. Now, I didn't walk in their shoes, so I'm not going to say they're wrong. I'm not going to say they're wrong, but I would like you to take a step back before you ever accuse anyone, or go to the law enforcement, or go to the news. Why? Because I've talked to people and know people that regret it. For an example, a woman was attacked in New York City. A guy, as she was starting to get into her car, came up and he pulled a switchblade knife, a lot bigger than this one, I bet. But with that in mind, she pulled her own switchblade and she fought him. And she practiced some with friends, so she was no novice with a knife. Buying a knife and not practicing will get you killed real quick. But she fought back. She cut him. Oh, he cut her too, but he finally gave up and ran away. Her mistake, she went to the police and she told the police about the attack and how she defended herself with a knife. Yeah, nothing could go wrong with that. They immediately arrested her for assault with a deadly weapon. She had to get a lawyer and fight that, and she spent time in jail because of it. Yeah, she spent time in jail. And it gets just as crazy as any, because I have a gentleman that I know. He had been, a guy attempted to steal his car with him in it. Carjack him, I believe the terminology is these days. And as he got the door and was trying to pull him out, the car driver, well, he had pepper spray. And so he sprayed him in the face, and the guy ran off screaming. He won the day because he did that. But he ended up losing the day because he told the cops. The cops immediately arrested him for assault, spraying someone with a pepper spray. It didn't matter that he was trying to save his property or protect himself. He was arrested. You might want to think twice. Even if you defend yourself, you might just want to just go on down the street and say nothing. I'm just telling you. That's one of the thoughts. Even in my own world, I've had knives pulled on me. I've had guns pulled on me in the 35 years as Mr. Bill, and I never turned one of them in. Never turned one of them in. I just simply thank God that I survived the incident, and I just went on down the road. An example is I was Santa Clausing for 22 years for the city of McCook, for free, mind you. I was on the street corner just a block from my house on B Street, the main thoroughfare here. And car pulled up, and quite often they did, and they'd have little kids in the back, and I'd play Santa Claus for them. But I looked in this car that had just pulled up, and there was no little kids in the back seat. So I then looked to the front seat, and there were two men in there, and alcohol reeked out of the car as they brought out a shotgun. And they pumped the action of that shotgun. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And that thing was pointed at me about 4 inches from my nose. That's right. Rest assured, I was one scared Santa Claus. And he said, "What are you going to give me, Santa?" And my hands were up. I knew I couldn't outrun or outfight him. And I didn't want to die that day. And I said very calmly back to him, "Anything you want, sir. Anything you want." It seemed like forever, but I suppose it was 3 to 5 seconds. He put the shotgun back in the car, and they sped away laughing how they had scared Santa Claus. I didn't call the cops. I simply thank God I survived the day. Numerous incidents like that have happened to me. Not counting in the city of McCook, living in the same house for 44 years. We've been robbed 13 times. No one's ever been caught. I just consider it a cost of living here in McCook, and I go on down the road. And if by chance you think, well, you should get vengeance or revenge, I leave that to the Lord. Because personally, I think the Lord, God Almighty, has a better plan of handling them on this side and the other side of life. A lot better, in my humble opinion, than prison time for most of them would have come to be. You bet. This is McCook's Mr. Bill. You guys have a safe holiday season.